All right. Thanks, Erica. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. I'm going to start by sharing my screen and then starting the presentation. All right. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Mastering Smarketing, also known as Sales and Marketing Alignment with HubSpot, and 10 tips for sales and marketing alignment in general, but also leveraging HubSpot, presented by Erica and myself. In today's presentation, we're just going to start off with some introductions. We're going to talk about who we are at Flawless, if you're not familiar with us, with a quick intro on ourselves as well, what you need to get started with sales and marketing alignment. Then we'll jump right into our 10 tips for sales and marketing alignment. Just ignore that customer service, that's a typo. And finally, with our closing statements and a special offer for not only everyone who attended, but for anyone who registered. All right, so if this is your first time hearing about us and you're wondering who Flawless Inbound is, we are powered by GSI Inc., and we are a revenue operations technology partner proudly based in Canada. We have provided more than 250 HubSpot implementations, some of which include services like custom integrations, e-commerce, ongoing support, process audit, and consultation, and more to B2B and B2C companies across Canada and the US. All right, and your speakers today will be myself. I'm an account manager here at Flawless Inbound. I've been with Flawless Inbound since August of 2021. I work closely with many of our clients on various projects, and my background is in marketing. So I also do a lot of marketing consultation as well as the HubSpot implementation with many of our clients. And I'll let my colleague introduce herself as well.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Erica Josephson. I am the marketing manager for Flawless Inbound. I have been here for approximately 5.5 years now, and I've been working on the marketing and sales alignment side for almost that entire time. I work very closely with our sales team to ensure alignment, and I also work with our clients from a consultation and strategy perspective to help them set up and program HubSpot, which we use every single day, and we help them to use every single day to optimize their processes as well. All right, so I'm going to take us right into what do you need to have to get started with marketing and sales alignment. So before we even talk about the 10 tips, what are some things that we need to have in place to get started? So the sales department and the marketing department are two teams that are traditionally siloed in most organizations. They might have a shared goal, it's a shared company goal of a number of customers that they want to get every quarter, every year. But for the most part, they operate separately, and leads are just passed between them. But research from LinkedIn shows that 90% of sales and marketing professionals feel that their processes and content are not aligned, which is pretty crazy considering that also 87% of leaders in the sales and marketing space say that alignment between those two departments is something that enables critical business growth. So that means there's obviously a big area of misalignment where companies could be achieving a lot more if they were properly aligning the two departments in their organization, both from a strategic perspective and a technical perspective, which we're going to cover in this presentation today. When the departments are aligned across their platforms, their processes, their messaging, their strategy, even their reporting, companies are more likely to see a consistent customer journey across their entire lifecycle stages so that they can convert better, happier customers. So I mentioned a couple things there, which is I mentioned processes, platforms, and people. These are three essential parts of both revenue operations as a whole, but also sales and marketing alignment. So people is your marketing and your sales teams. You need to have your teams on the same page, people who are able to work together, people who are able to use the tools that they need to use to work together, and who understand the shared goals. You need to have your platforms. So this might be one platform like HubSpot for both sales and marketing, but it might be separate platforms, and you might have additional platforms that are also used in your sales and marketing processes that we're going to talk about in a minute in the integration section of our tips. But you need to have your platforms sorted, and you need to know they're able to share information effectively. And lastly, processes. So we need to make sure that we know what our marketing process is, we know what our sales process is, and that we're able to find the place where those things can intersect most effectively. And some of these tips are going to help to be able to find that place as well. But making sure everybody knows what their process is before they start working together on an aligned process is definitely critical to sales and marketing alignment. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into the 10 tips, and I'll pass it back to Diana to get us started.
The stage, we'll jump right into the tips. All right, so when you are striving for sales and marketing alignment, the first thing you want to do with both teams is define clear objectives and setting clear and measurable goals for both teams. Sales and marketing should have a shared understanding of what success looks like and how it will be measured. Generally, a lot of sales teams will have a revenue goal, and we urge you to take sales and marketing and make that a common goal for them to work towards together. And once you have a good idea of what that shared goal is, then you can go into how you will achieve that goal and how both sales will support marketing and marketing will support sales towards that revenue goal. All right, so how will you achieve your SLA goal or your goal and keep both teams accountable? That will be through a SLA or service level agreement. So basically write out a contract for both sales and your marketing teams to sign and hold each other accountable. It will outline all the expectations, responsibilities, and the timelines for both teams so that they are aligned towards working towards the same goal. So for instance, marketing will agree to pass sales a certain number of qualified leads per month, and qualified leads you will have to define between your teams. And in return, sales will agree to follow up with all the qualified leads within a certain time period, or sales will agree to have a certain number of touch points with every lead within a certain time period. So a more concrete example would be marketing agrees to deliver 100 marketing qualified leads per month to sales, and sales agrees that they will follow up with every marketing qualified lead within 24 hours of receiving the lead. And once everyone on the sales and marketing team have agreed to the terms, everyone needs to sign the agreement. And also we encourage you to create reports to track that progress that both sales and marketing will have access to and hold themselves and each other accountable, which Erica will jump on a little bit later on in the presentation. All right. So the next thing you want to do to set up your sales and alignment marketing for success is create a shared ICP, ideal customer profile / content / messaging strategy. So you want sales and marketing to work together to create detailed buyer personas that outlines the needs, challenges, and goals of your target customers. And this will help ensure that both teams are aligned in their understanding of the customer. So an example of where there isn't a shared ICP content or messaging strategy would be if marketing is writing content to tailor to who they think the decision maker is. If it's a B2B situation where there's multiple players in a sale, and they think that the decision maker is director, but sales, when they're talking to leads, they're actually finding out it's more the managers that are making that decision, then they aren't aligned, and the messaging that marketing is writing is aligned towards a more senior persona that doesn't even partake in that decision making. So it's really, really key that sales and marketing have that conversation and come to an agreement on who the target persona is and what the messaging is. and they need to have a common understanding of what the pain points are. And here, sales will really have a lot more insight than marketing, since they actually talk to leads and customers, and they'll be able to get more information to advise marketing on what those prospects are saying their pain points are. And marketing will also depend on sales to work together to develop a content strategy that addresses the needs and interests of the target audience. So sales can be proactive and inform marketing. Hey, I think if we had this case study, it would really help us. Or our audience is saying that they really wish they had an ebook on this. And I think that will generate more leads and have that constant feedback loop. So marketing is putting out the content that the prospects actually care about, and sales are getting more qualified leads. Next, you want to utilize shared templates between your sales and marketing teams. So first of all, you want to have consistent branding and messaging across all of your assets, and sales and marketing should collaborate to develop shared templates for emails, proposals, and any other sales and marketing collateral in your CRM to ensure that both teams are using consistent messaging and branding. And one of the ways that marketing can help support sales is through the development of sales enablement tools like slide deck presentations, case studies, product demos, etc. So next, I wanted to discuss lead scoring. This is a specific feature that you can find in HubSpot. Lead scoring is the process of assigning a score to different pieces of information or activities in which your contacts partake in. You can have positive attributes that add to a contact score, and you can also have negative attributes that take away from a contact score. You can attribute scores to things like demographic information. It could be based on their job title. It could be based on where they are geographically located. And it can be based on the activities that your contacts partake in, like how many emails have they opened? How many pages have they visited? And in HubSpot, if you have certain pages that are more higher intent than others, you can assign scores to that and give a higher score to someone who maybe visited your pricing page or your FAQ page, things like that. And this is also going to require a conversation between your sales and marketing teams, so they can come to an agreement on what would a positive attribute be in terms of demographics, and what would some negative attributes be as well. So, and here you can see a little GIF on what this looks like in HubSpot. And in HubSpot, lead scoring is really interesting because it's actually a property, which maybe later on, if you want to learn more about, we can talk about how exactly you can program this in HubSpot. So now I will pass it off back to Erica to discuss the rest of our tips.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Diana. So we had noted that we are going to be sending, as a follow-up to this, a ebook on sales and marketing alignment. In there, you'll find a few technical tips, some of those especially related to lead scoring, a couple of examples of some of the points or the points you might assign to specific activities or demographics, and a way you could maybe get started with setting that up in your portal as well. And if you have any questions about how to set that up in your portal, please ask. We're happy to provide that information. But as I mentioned before, one of the things that is crucial to sales and marketing alignment is having the systems integrated. So in some cases, you might have a sales team and a marketing team that are in two separate platforms. Maybe only your sales team is using HubSpot. You only have Sales Hub and your marketing team is in another platform like MailChimp or something like that. Or maybe it's the other way around. Your marketing team is using HubSpot and they pass the leads out of the system to sales. But even if both of your teams are in HubSpot, you still most likely have other systems that you're using that could be integrated to form a more cohesive customer journey. So it is critical to get all of the systems which track information about leads and customers integrated into your CRM so that both your sales and marketing teams in HubSpot have the full range of data that they need when they're planning campaigns and outreach. If your sales team is doing any sort of cross-selling and upselling, it's absolutely critical that customer data, so maybe if you have a customer service platform outside of HubSpot, or some sort of financial platform that the information is important, that they have access to that information. And more importantly, like easy access to that information in somewhere like their CRM. So platforms that are commonly integrated into HubSpot include e-commerce like Shopify or Stripe. That way, you know the purchase behavior of your customers. You have the information about what they've bought before, what they might be intending to buy next, abandoned cart information. So all of that you can have in your CRM, and that the marketing team can use to make sure that they're passing the correct qualified leads to sales. ERPs like NetSuite, this is a big one. NetSuite integrations are one of the most common integrations to HubSpot because people are using it to have their product information, their shipping information, even their financial information. And so that is sometimes something that's necessary for the sales team and the marketing team to understand. And so getting that information flowing back and forth is going to be really important. And lastly, some people may have subscription management platforms. Chargebee is an example of one of those, but if you have a subscription to your product or service, you can integrate your platforms there. So there is going to be some more information about integrations in the follow-up ebook that we send you, but there are different types of integrations. There are native integrations, things that are directly in HubSpot. There are custom integrations, so things that are programmed via the open APIs with a developer. And knowing which one you need is going to be something that you want to look carefully at and understand exactly what are your needs and how do those integration systems work for you. And we have done many integrations for our HubSpot clients in the past. We have a developer team on hand to do that. So if you do have any questions about what kind of integration you might need or how to get started with it, please reach out as well. Number 7 here is utilizing predictive analytics. So this is a little bit of an advanced system. This is for sales and marketing enterprise users in HubSpot. So if you have a sales or marketing enterprise license, you have access to HubSpot's machine learning algorithms. So it's kind of like advanced lead scoring, but it's not based on what you have inputted. It's based on what HubSpot finds out in its machine learning process to understand what is the probability that your open contacts will close as customers within the next 90 days. So we're looking at here a likelihood to close property and a contact priority property. And it's going to take a whole bunch of different data, analytics and conversion information, like page visits, time of last visits, interactions, your life cycle stages, firmographic information that HubSpot's Insights, which is their machine learning prediction, black box machine learning, what they have learned about the contacts company, what they've learned about your company based on your HubSpot account, and what they know about previous interactions that have been logged in your HubSpot CRM. So tracked emails and meetings booked and things like that. And it's going to give you a specific likelihood to close. So something like this contact has a 22% chance of becoming a customer in the next 90 days. So then we're going to mark it as a high priority. Contact priority is going to be high. Your sales team can use that information to make decisions on who to follow up with and when to follow up with them, who they need to prioritize, who needs more attention. And it can help them to say, okay, this person's likelihood to close was high. Now it's low. What happened? Maybe we need to send them back to marketing because they don't have enough information. And so this can help you to identify your high quality leads. You can help your sales and marketing teams to get on the same page about who they should be sending content to and when as well. Predictive analytics. Yeah, I see a question about that. We'll type the answer to where you can find predictive analytics in your portal as at the end of the webinar here, but it is a enterprise feature. So if you have that, you'll be able to get it. Okay, number 8 is to conduct regular check-ins. This is more of a strategic item. This is a way that you can make sure that your team is always on the same page because things are always changing. We can't just create a sales and marketing alignment strategy and say, okay, so here's the here's the strategy, run with this forever. We need to make sure that the team is able to check in with each other, to provide feedback to each other, and to identify opportunities for improvement, to make sure that they're still working collaboratively towards the same goal, that somebody hasn't changed what they're doing, that somebody isn't like holding on to a piece of feedback that they don't know who to share it with or where to share it. And one of the ways that you're going to be able to do these check-ins more effectively is through dashboards. So the next number 9 here is dashboards, shared dashboards. So sales and marketing should create shared reports in HubSpot to track the effectiveness of their efforts. Most sales and marketing teams have a dashboard. Most marketing teams have a dashboard where they're tracking the number of leads that they get, number of website visits, emails opened, blog views, things like that. Most sales teams or sales leaders have a dashboard where they're tracking progress towards deal close. So pipeline stages, rep activity, all of those kinds of things. But most people don't have a shared dashboard that both teams are viewing on a regular basis. This can help both teams to understand which tactics are working and which aren't, and make their decisions more data-driven. So they're not just saying, well, I think that these kind of people are converting faster. They know that these kind of people are converting faster because it says so in their reports. Basically, what we want to do is we want to have closed loop reporting. Closed loop reporting just means that you track your entire customer journey from the first time the lead touched your website, touched your company, all the way around to when they became a closed deal. So you have all of the touch points there. You know what caused them to convert, you know when they converted, you know how many touch points they had, and that is all available to you via HubSpot reports. You can put that all on one dashboard, and now your sales and marketing team can see it, and they can say, oh, look at this report that shows, you know, marketing had 10,000 website visits this month, but only 7 people came to me as a sales leader as a qualified lead. Why is there such a big discrepancy? Do I need to talk to marketing about an asset that is missing or something like that? Or marketing could say, look, I can show you I passed 500 leads to sales in the last 2 months, but only 3 of them got emailed. And so it's just a way to keep each other accountable. One of the ways you can do this, and this is a bit of a HubSpot tech tip again, is with attribution reporting. So attribution models help to assign credit to various touch points that lead to a conversion. So in HubSpot, you have 3 types of attribution reporting. You have contact create attribution, which is going to allow you to attribute specific value to different assets, different sources, different activities. So specific landing pages, specific downloadables, specific forms, sources, organic, direct, ads, social media, and then interactions as well. So meeting bookings, things like that, to the contact creation. So it's tracking this before that person becomes a contact in your CRM. There is also deal create attribution, which is going to take all of those same things. So emails opened, pages viewed, interactions with sales, emails sent, and it's going to attribute a different value to all of those activities to say which ones caused them to become a deal or an opportunity in HubSpot. So got them into the pipeline. And then the last type is revenue attribution. So that's basically where it's going to take all of those combined things from before about your contact attribution and your deal attribution, and it's going to put them into a bunch of buckets to say, what are the activities and the sources and the actual assets that led to your revenue? So how much money did each one lead to? And there are so many different attribution models that you can access in HubSpot, different ways that you can set it up, different filters that you can add. We could not get through all of it in today's webinar, but if you do want to know more about attribution reporting and how it works and get some help on setting it up, even, we can do that. And you'll see in the special offer at the end of this webinar that we can actually help you with creating some of those things or training you on some of those things through that offer. So this leads us into our final item, which is continuous optimization. No alignment strategy is ever complete. Things are always going to change. You will change your personas or your ICPs as your business evolves. That means you need to change your strategy. You might have different economy conditions, world conditions that change something, that means you need to change how that works. You might have different team members that just have different experiences, which means you need to change how that works. One of the things you're going to revisit most consistently is the lead scoring that we talked about before. So you want to make sure that the current metrics you have, and we recommend looking at it usually on a quarterly basis. So the current metrics that you have, are they sending the correct leads to sales? Are the correct leads being qualified? So if unqualified leads are being sent to sales, why? Why are they scoring so high? What scores are they matching that is causing them to have a high score? Do we need to change that? Are leads reaching a high score too soon? Are they passing to sales when they're not ready, when they should have had more time to go through marketing stuff? Do you need to decrease the value of some of the items that you have in your scoring? Or are qualified leads that should be passing to sales? Are people reaching out by phone, by email, asking for a sales conversation when your lead scoring hasn't yet passed them there? Why would that happen? Are there some things you need to add a score to make sure that they're able to reach a higher score? And of course, if you update or change your ICP or persona, then you have to update or change your lead scoring in order to match that persona. Say you have a specific industry scores 20 points. You change your ideal customer profile, and now that industry is not in it. You got to remove the number of points assigned to people in that industry, of course. So very important to always be keeping up with optimizing that. So that does cover the 10 tips. I am going to let Diana talk you through our special offer right here, and then we will get into the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Erica. So that concludes the 10 tips portion of our presentation. I wanted to touch quickly on our special offer for today, which we've named Quick Spot. So by registering for this webinar, you are eligible for our brand new offering, which includes the free completion of any tasks within your HubSpot portal by our CRM consultants and implementation specialists up to 5 hours. So there is no limit on how many tasks we can do, but let's say you need help with a task that takes 5 hours, then that's the only task we can do. But if you need help with a bunch of little tasks up to the 5 hours, then we can help you with that. And if you're struggling to think of some examples of what you need help with in your HubSpot CRM, here we have some examples that we could complete for you, including a pipeline, a landing page template, a lead assignment workflow, active lists, custom properties, just to name a few. We could even do a process audit or a portal audit, which would most likely take the entire 5 hours. But in order to redeem this offer, we'll be following up after this webinar in an email. Just respond to that email and we can work on setting something up to discuss your needs and priorities and how you can take advantage of this offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to jump into the Q&A, there was a question earlier about where to find the predictive analytics. So predictive analytics are found through 2 properties in your HubSpot portal. The first being the contact priority property, and then the likelihood to close property. So you actually just find those by going to your settings and then going into your custom to your properties, looking for the names of those 2 properties, which again are going to be likelihood to close and contact priority. You can then use those properties in your other tools. So you can go into a workflow and you can say, if the contact property likelihood to close is more than 20%, then we're going to send a notification to the contact owner or to the company owner of that contact, and we're going to let them know that they need to follow up with them again, that they need to send them another email, things like that. You can use them in your lists. You can create lists. So you can say, here's a list, an active list. And the criteria is that these are all my high priority contacts. So contact priority is high. Then I'm going to add them to this list. And then the sales team can go in and look at that list or use the filters in their contact database to look at that list and decide, which of the high priority ones they want to work on first, or maybe the marketing team can go in and look at the lower priority leads, the ones that are set to low or set to medium, and say, okay, we want to run a campaign to these ones to help increase their likelihood to close or their contact priority up to higher. So those are a couple ways that you can do that.
We did have a couple more questions in the chat during the presentation. So I briefly touched on this very high level, but someone was wondering how to set up lead scoring.
Yeah, absolutely. So lead scoring is also a property within HubSpot. It is called, if you go in, it's a contact property, and it is called HubSpot Score. So it is, you go into your properties, the same way you find any other property, and you click on HubSpot, you search for HubSpot Score, you click on that, it's going to open up that big dashboard from the GIF example where it shows you all of the different attributes and all of their specific scores. So what you would do is you would go in there, you would set up all of your scores for your page views, for your email opens, for your demographic information. And then once that was all set up, you would take that score that you set up there, and then you would use another tool, Workflows, to program the actions that happen after that. So let's say lead HubSpot score is 100, set or more, set the lifecycle stage to marketing qualified lead, and send a notification to the sales rep to take over that lead and start taking them through the sales process. So that is the basic way that you set that up. However, for those of you who are a little bit more advanced in terms of setting up your HubSpot scores, you can actually create custom score properties. So you can go into creating a new HubSpot property and you can create a custom score. So it's just the type of property would be score. Once you do that, it's going to create basically this clone version of the HubSpot score property, but it's going to be customizable by you. So you could perhaps create a custom score property for your deals. So for example, if you want to do deal scoring, you can use the custom score property to set that up instead of scoring it based on contacts like the default HubSpot one. And we've seen some clients set that up by saying deals that are in certain stages receive certain scores, deals where the associated contact has booked a meeting receive certain scores, deals where a sales rep has sent a certain number of emails receive certain scores. So you can set all of that up and then you can give your deals a score. And that way you can get reporting on what are the high priority ones. And if you don't have the likelihood to close, you don't have access to the predictive analytics because you don't have an enterprise license, this is a good way to sort of mimic a similar system based on that. And even if you don't have a specific score that you want to set up for a different object, so you don't have company scoring, you don't have deal scoring, if you have more than one sort of distinct product line, maybe more than one distinct sales or marketing process for two different personas, you can create two different score properties for those two different things. So you could have a lead scoring process set up for one of your specific personas, and then another score set up for the other one, because there are different activities that they have to partake in based on what we're looking for, what we're looking to get out of them, what we're looking to sell to them, that will give them a better or worse score compared to the other one. So you can have up to 25 different scoring sheets to ensure that you're qualifying the right leads in the right way for every part of your business. So if you think, oh, well, that's not going to work for me because not all of mine are the same, it can. You just need to create those custom ones rather than sticking to only the default. So hopefully that was helpful to answer that question. Anything else?
Yes, there was one more question. We kind of talked about the importance of integrations and integrating all systems. So the person asked, what should I do if I need an integration?
Yeah, so integrations are they can be very simple, but they can also be very complicated depending on your specific requirements. So the first thing that you want to do when you determine that you have two softwares that aren't currently speaking to each other and you would like them to be, now you need to decide, how is this integration going to work? So you have to look at, is it a native integration or a custom integration? And I touched on this a little bit before, but a native integration is something that your platform has already developed an integration with. You just need to program in the specific points. So in HubSpot, that's when you go into the little house icon at the top of your HubSpot profile, and you go to the app marketplace. When you're in the app marketplace with HubSpot, you're looking at native integrations. So basically, all of those things in the app marketplace are native integrations that you can use to effectively program an integration without the need for a developer, or even someone who's like super technical in some cases, depending on the integration and on who developed it. HubSpot does develop some of their own integrations. Those ones are typically the most user-friendly, and you can see from the listing who did develop those. So the way that you can determine if you need a native integration is to go look in the app marketplace. If it exists there, maybe you can use that native integration. So you're going to want to open that up and have a look through at how does it integrate? What objects can be passed back and forth? What fields can be passed back and forth? What kinds of fields? Because we see this often in examples with the NetSuite native integration, is that sometimes custom fields, so custom properties that you created, cannot be passed back and forth using the native integration, only HubSpot's default properties. And that does pose a problem for a lot of organizations who are trying to use their integrations to connect all of the custom things that they've set up. So if the native integration isn't enough for you, it's not going to solve for what you need it to do, then the next step is to look at a custom integration. So HubSpot has an open API. So for anybody with a developer on their team, you can have your developer program your custom integration using the objects API. So all the objects in HubSpot, grab that API, program the integration into whatever objects in your other platform. However, we understand not everybody has a developer on their team and not everybody's able to do that. If that's the case, if you need your integration, but you can't use the native one, or you don't know how to set up the native one, or you know you want a custom one, but you don't have someone on the team who can program it, then you're going to want to look for an integration partner to help you do that. So one example is obviously Flawless, but there are, you can get an integration partner that is a developer who can help you set up all of that and make sure that the processes that happen on either end of the integration are also working. That's very important because you don't just want to connect the systems and then let it go. You want to make sure that when you connect the systems, when a contact passes from NetSuite to HubSpot, then what happens? Does somebody get notified? Does somebody get a task? Do they get an email? Who are they assigned to? How does that work? So all of that, you need to make sure you have a partner, your integration partner, who can also program all of the actions on either side of the system that you're integrating as well. So that's a pro tip for choosing your integration partners, to make sure that it's somebody who can also work with your systems. Any other questions? I think.
Yes. I know I said last question for the last question, but this is one more question. So would the custom scoring be best for different business units?
Yeah, so if you are using business units, which is both a term and be a feature of HubSpot. So for those of you, again, with an enterprise license, you might have separate business units that you actually have in HubSpot as two separate business units using the business units feature, or you might just have two business units using the same profile. And yes, absolutely. Creating a custom score for the different business units is a way to make sure that this score is only being applied to the correct contacts. So you would take all of your score criteria, get that all set up, and then make sure that, you know, all the things that you're setting up, use your workflow to say, okay, for the contacts that are in X business unit that belong to X business unit, then apply that score to them. So yeah, absolutely. That is an ideal way to get two business units to have two separate lead scorings for sure. Something else that I see questions on quite frequently that I would touch on is the sales enablement tools slide that we had earlier, which is that what are some ways that the marketing team can more effectively support the sales team in having the branded material that they need? Because we do see, we have a lot of marketing teams where they have all kinds of templates, they have all kinds of fancy things, fancy downloadable ebooks, recorded webinars, video content, branded emails, and then the lead goes to sales and it's like, the sales team is like, here's a Word document with all of our services on it. And it just doesn't seem to fit into the same flow as it did with marketing, because they don't see the same sort of consistent branding. They don't see the care and attention. And it feels like maybe something was just thrown together for them, not that it was thought out. So one of the ways that marketing can help sales with more effective enablement tools is to, first of all, sit together and plan the things that they need. So if I was talking to my sales team, I would say, okay, what do you normally send to the clients when they want more information on X service? And they might say, oh, well, I send an email about it, and then I send them a link to the website page, and then I write down the pricing, and I give that to them as well. And so that might indicate to me that the sales team needs a couple of things. They need an email template. So that might not be a design. It might be a plain text email, but they might need some specific phrases that we've carried over consistently from marketing. So we set up that email template and they can use that to contact their leads. They might need email snippets. So that's a HubSpot feature for those of you sales users. So a snippet is a small piece of text that they can have preset on anything. So small piece of text about a specific service, piece of text about a specific offer, piece of text about a specific pain point, and they can just drop that right into their email as they're drafting it without having to rewrite the same thing every time. The fact that they're sending the website page about that service to the contacts might be indicative that they need a presentation template or a brochure template, a sell sheet, whatever you want to call it, because the lead probably already saw the website software. That's how they got there. If they looked at the solutions on the website, now they're talking to sales and sales is like, oh, here, look at the solutions on the website. It's not going to feel like they are getting more unique information tailored to them. So creating a brochure or a one-pager or a sell sheet or even a presentation template that it can have basically the same information, but if it just goes a little bit more in depth or it has some room where the sales team can add customization to it, then it's going to make the contact feel way more cared for, feel like they're getting something above what they've already seen. And marketing can create those things for sales and have them branded consistently so that everything feels like it's part of the same team. And the last thing is, I said, the sales team might say, well, I just write the pricing down. Again, maybe we can set up a proposal template or a pricing chart or even a pricing calculator for our more technically advanced people, where the sales team can send the lead to go through even more detailed pricing, that they're not just getting it written down in an email, that they're seeing a chart, something that's digestible, something that's understandable, something where they see their options. And this is still, even if you have pricing available on your website, again, getting another piece of information about your pricing or another format for the pricing always helps people feel like when they're in the sales process, they're being cared for because they're getting something unique to what they can access publicly. So that's a big point that sort of applies across this whole thing in terms of sales and marketing alignment, is to make sure that the things that your leads are receiving throughout the entire process always feel like they're going on an upward scale, right? They see the things available publicly on the website Then they get the things that marketing is helping them receive through email communication or things like offers, things like that. And then they get passed to sales and it doesn't go back down. They need to continue to receive more information from sales that is above and beyond what they received publicly and what they received from marketing. So there's all kinds of things that you can develop in that case to help you with providing that information accurately to your leads. Okay, so we are a little bit prior to time. Are there any additional questions from our attendees? You can drop them in the Q&A right now. If not, I will go once again quickly over the offers and what's going to happen following this webinar for the next steps. So basically, so feel free to type in a question as I'm talking as well. Still have time to answer it. So like we said, prior or after this webinar, tomorrow, it should be tomorrow morning, you will receive an email that has the ebook that we talked about. So a link to the book where we're going to give some more technical tips for the sales and marketing alignment, a couple of things we didn't talk about in this particular webinar, including some lead assignment workflows and lead rotation features as well that you can use in HubSpot, and some things about lists and using shared lists as well. So that'll be included in there. You'll also receive the details of the Quick Spot offer again, as well as a set of questions that you can answer to help us get started if you want to take advantage of that offer. So all you need to do is reply to that email. If you don't have all the answers to all the questions, don't worry about it. You don't have to answer them right now, but just let us know that you're interested in the Quick Spot offer. And if you have the details to provide, please do so. And we can get started right away on setting you up with one of our implementation experts to perform that task for you. In order to do that, you are going to need to have that person added into your HubSpot portal. And once they're in there, they can have the access that they need just to do that task, and we can perform it for you. And we'll definitely make sure that we're following up to see how the task went, to see if there's anything else that you need, and everything like that as it's finished as well. If you think that the Quick Spot offer is not going to fit what you need at this time, we also are able to do consultations. So if you would rather, if you say like, oh, I don't even know what task I need, I just need, something is wrong with my HubSpot, something is wrong with my sales and marketing alignment, I just need someone to help me. We can absolutely do a consultation as well, or instead, where we're able to come in and have a look at what you have and talk about options moving forward with that as well. And then we will follow up after that with the recording of the video, which will be available to you to share with anybody else on your team who may have not been able to attend today, or who you might want to also provide the information to. Maybe you want to share it with your sales and marketing teams so they can get some of the tips as well, or as a starting point for implementing this feature for you. We are having a lot of upcoming webinars, so keep an eye on our email for our monthly webinars to see what else is out there. I can give you a quick sneak peek that the May webinar will be focused on integrations, as we were talking about earlier. That's a big point of need for a lot of HubSpot customers, so we are going to have that as a little bit of a sneak peek for our May webinar. And now I'm going to let Diana close out if there are no further questions.
Today, as Erica said, we'll be following up with the ebook and the special offer. And please, if you have any feedback on this presentation, if you found it helpful, or if you felt like we could have provided some different information, we would always love to hear that from you.
All right.
So, with that being said, have a wonderful day, everyone, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.